Hello and welcome to the Apex Online Racing IMSA Lights Endurance Series, where today we are going to be providing you coverage from round 2 at Watkins Glen for this fantastic league that kicked off last Thursday at Circuit of the Americas. Sorry, I had a very slight memory blank there. My name is Yorkie065 and I shall be your commentator and director for this evening, providing you with the coverage. Welcome to those who are here in the live stream and there in the chat. If I could just get a quick confirmation that mic is sounding all good, that'll be very much appreciated. And then obviously once we actually get into the qualifying session, which should be starting in roughly about 5 minutes time, just another quick check just to make sure that all the quality levels in both the video and also audio is all good on that side too. So, like I mentioned, the previous round we raced at Circuit of the Americas in this fantastic IMSA Lights Endurance League, and it was a very entertaining race from start to finish. We had two classes that participated in the race. The first was the LMP3 class, so we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results from last week and essentially the current championship standings in the LMP3 class. Obviously, having only done one round, all the points that have been added up so far are basically in the points positions that the drivers finished in last week. So obviously at the top, Aid the Ace came away with both the race win and also the qualifying on pole position as well. So he's up there with 11 points. Now, when you qualify and pole position in this league, you get an extra bonus point, as that is the reason why he has 10 points and 11 points instead of the usual 10. In second place was Bo in the Ginetta, so he's there trailing by 2 points. 3 points with 8 points to his name. Jeremy came in third place, putting in a very good solid result with Smolder in fourth. Flaming Parrot obviously finished in sixth. Martinez, Maxime finished in sixth place with Andrew Harper, who was having a little bit of some lag issues. He ended up finishing seventh, and Andrew was unfortunately dropping out of this round. He was due to be racing, but he's dropped out to try and sort out those issues that he was experiencing in the previous round. Hopefully he can get them sorted and be back ready for round 3. Next up was Bizanchik, finished in 8th place, and then Minisco was in 9th place, and 10th was Bernetto, finished there with Intergalactic Gentleman coming home in 11th place. And then we also had the other drivers who finished slightly further down the field. Can't quite make out the name there on the stream. Give me a second. Jay Peaches was the driver who finished in 12th. And there was a number of other drivers as well who are listed in the league, but I'm only showing the top 12 positions here just purely because anyone else below, well, from 13th onwards, have 0 points. So that is the LMP3 Championship standings. Over on the GT4 side of things, we have at the top there Scott V, who put in a very solid performance. Now, the points for the GT4 class works a little bit different to the GT3s. Instead of scoring 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 points, so only the top 8 score points in the LMP3 class, whereas the top 12 score points in the GT4 class. The top finishing position scores you 16 points, but Scott V also qualified on pole, so he gets the 1 additional bonus point there as well. Andrex came home in second to score 13 points, with Brake Check coming home pretty closely in third to take 11 points. Colonel McCoy finished in P4 with 9 points. Marauder was there in 5th, followed up by Pushdom in 6th position and Carlito in 7th. Milo finished up in 8th place, with Neela coming home in 9th. TPW, Mr. Ticklish Picklewickle, came home in 10th place with David Simon there in 11th. And then Mr. BMW Empower, I've placed there at the bottom in 12th place. Although he didn't race in the previous race, nor did he race in the previous round, I thought it'd just be nice to put the final driver at the bottom of the table there with 0 points in a car that is a little bit different to the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, which is a very popular choice in the GT4 class for this season. So that is the GT4 Championship standings. And here we can see the season calendar. Obviously today with round 2 we are racing at the Watkins Glen GP circuit, and it is going to be a 90-minute race. There's going to be a 15-minute qualifying session that will happen beforehand, but after that it will be a 90-minute race that the guys will be doing. So I do believe strategy will come into play in this race, with the guys having to make a pit stop, potentially for tyres as well as fuel. And then next week we are going to be racing at Laguna Seca, and we're back to a 1-hour race. Round 4 will be following 2 weeks on, with a week's break for Valentine's Day on the 21st of February, where we shall be racing at Long Beach for yet again another 90-minute race. Round 5 will follow a week later at Road America, with once again a 60-minute race. And then the final race of the season, round 6, will be on March the 7th around the Daytona International Road Circuit, which will be a 90-minute race, as you can see there on the season calendar. So we're just waiting for the session to get underway, which it will be doing so in just a moment. So very, very shortly we shall be bringing you the action from round 2, and we'll be kicking off with a 15-minute qualifying session. And we're just loading into the lobby now. So in just a moment we should bring up the main screen and the stream, and we'll get into this qualifying session where obviously the guys have a 15-minute session. Both the GT3 cars and the GT4 cars and the LMP3 cars will be out on circuit at the same time, and it is all down to them to find a little bit of space in and amongst the traffic to try and set their lap times and give themselves the best possible position for the start of this 90-minute long race. So here we go then. Just starting up the session now. Just bear with me 1 second. System sound. Don't seem to be getting any audio from the game, which is a little bit unusual. So just bear with me a moment whilst just try and sort out this technical difficulty that I am having. So apologies for this, guys. Just bear with me whilst I try and sort out why I'm not getting any in-game sounds. We should have this running back underway in just a moment. Hopefully you guys can hear me fine in the stream though. And hopefully we can get things underway as the guys are currently in their qualifying session at the moment. Okay, good. You can hear me. That's all good. It sounds like I've got game audio back as well, so just loading back into the lobby real quick and we shall resume our coverage of our qualifying session. But hopefully you guys are all well in the chat. And if I can just ask you guys real quick, once I do get back into the session and the screen does come up, that all the audio levels and everything are all good. Everything's looking good quality for yourself. And here we are with the qualifying session then. So unfortunately we've missed the first 5 minutes or so because of those technical difficulties. Aid the Ace in his Ligier is currently seeming to lead the way at the moment in the LMP3 field. And then at the front of the field is M-Power, who is racing in his Ford Mustang Boss there. It's the old Ford Mustang, not the RTR GT4 that we have. So it's good to see a little bit of variety as he's taking a very committed line into that long sweeping turn 9. Nope, sorry, turn 6. Aid the Ace has actually just been knocked off of pole position by GTR Boat. Oh, and there goes my connection, unfortunately. If you just bear with me one moment, we should get ourselves back into the lobby once again. But I'm glad that everything is all sounding all good for you guys. Just bear with me one moment. And hopefully we'll be back in. Okay, thank you very much for the confirmations on the quality. Glad to see that. Things are looking and sounding good. Just hopefully this time we'll be able to actually remain in the lobby and actually be able to provide you with the racing coverage here for round 2 of the AOR IMSA Lights Endurance Series at Watkins Glen. We are just loading back into the game now. Here we are. So just taking a look at GTS Inferno at the moment. He's currently holding 6th position, but yeah, just as what I was just saying just before I did end up losing connection to the lobby was Bo has managed to take a provisional pole position for the moment. He's up there, managed to get himself ahead of And unfortunately, I've just gone and lost game audio again. Which is rather frustrating. Apologise for these technical difficulties that I'm having at the moment. And there goes my connection to the game once more. So bear with me one moment whilst I just once again try and sort these technical difficulties. Hopefully we can actually get these sorted and not have any further issue. Okay, interesting. We are experiencing some interesting weather here in the UK, so it could possibly be something related to that is interfering. These conditions are very, very cold outside. I'm hoping that they weren't going to have an effect, but there could be something that is causing potential issues, as previously last week everything was all running nice, smooth and fine. Hopefully, fingers crossed, third time lucky, everything will be all good here as we are loading back into the lobby once again, and hopefully I can actually maintain connection this time round. And hopefully there won't be any further frustrations. Okay, so let's try this again. We're now back into the lobby and we shall resume our coverage. We've got 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Currently at the moment, Bo is leading Aid the Ace with a lap that is about 8 tenths quicker, and Aid the Ace has got a little bit of traffic in and around him at the moment. Currently holding third place, but sat in the pit lane is Smolder. Ruddy Bird is there in fourth place in his Ginetta LMP3 car. Flaming Parrot is currently holding fifth position with Bizanchik there in sixth. Inferno is currently holding seventh place with Matt Cooley there in eighth. Maxime Martinez is there in 10th place with Minesco in 11th. Logan is there in 12th place with Intergalactic Gentleman there in 13th. And unfortunately, I have just gone and lost connection once again to the lobby. So bear with me once I try and get myself back into the lobby once more. Seems like we are having some pretty difficult technical issues at the moment. As we are struggling to actually stay within the lobby. So we are just loading back in now. Hopefully fourth time lucky, we should be stuck in the lobby and we'll stay there I will be able to bring you the coverage. I've got all my fingers and all my toes that I possibly can crossed up, and hoping for the best. So here we are back in then. As you can see, Minisco there in 12th place. Logan is in 13th place. It's actually been knocked down by, I think, Bernetto there, hopping himself up into 12th place. Intergalactic Gentleman in 15th, and Jeremy there in 16th at the moment. Seems like the rest of the drivers are still in the positions that they were in previously. And there's Jay Peaches as well, also in 17th place. Looking at the GT4 field, we have Scott there in pole position for GT4. He's managed to get himself ahead of Empower. There is less than a tenth, in fact only 0.02 of a second between the two of them in terms of their lap time. Actually 1/100th of a second, sorry. Colonel McCoy was there in 3rd place. Unfortunately, once again I've gone and lost connection with the lobby, which is very frustrating indeed. I'm not sure what else I can do to try and solve the issue. I'm not sure about restarting the stream. I don't think that will actually help. I think it's possibly something related with my connection to the host or something like that, rather than myself and the actual stream connection, as everything last week seemed to be running perfectly fine. This week it is a lot colder than last week, so that could potentially be a factor, as I'm actually out in a cabin out in the back garden and have to run a network cable between the house and here, so that could potentially be what is causing the issue. One thing I will try and do, actually, as you mentioned, that is just shut down Steam, restart that back up again. I'll keep the stream actually running, but just restart Steam again and try and get back in. But unfortunately, with that last disconnection where I've actually connected towards the end of the qualifying session, hoping that I can get back into the lobby for the on the formation lap, as unfortunately I wouldn't be able to get back in when in those final few minutes of the qualifying session. So just relaunching the game now, hopefully praying to any and every god that there is that this will work this time round, and hoping that this will be a lot better and a lot more stable. As everything else seems fine, it looks like the stream is running pretty good without issue. OBS is saying that everything is all fine there, so it just seems that it's possibly my connection to either the lobby or the lobby host and the other players or something. So I do apologise about this, guys. Hopefully I can get back in relatively soon. And hopefully we can get underway with the coverage. I do sincerely apologise about this. Okay, it does seem like we are back into the lobby, which is good. That's a start. And we're just loading back in to the actual game now. Hopefully the guys will be going around on their formation lap, and hopefully we won't have actually missed the race start, so I have to very quickly whisk through and confirm the positions of the drivers that they are going to be starting in. And yeah, hopefully we can get you some decent coverage here for this race. Although it looks like there may be some technical issues as well with the lobby itself, as I'm only seeing 2 people actually in the game. So unfortunately, bear with me 1 second whilst I go and find out what exactly is happening. Hopefully the guys are just restarting the lobby. And hopefully we can actually get some coverage here for you guys. And yep, it seems like there is going to be a lobby restart. So just quickly finding out if they're going to be doing qualifying again. And hopefully we can get back in and hopefully we can get underway. I think there may have been some other drivers who are potentially having some issues as well with some disconnections, which is a little bit unfortunate. But it seems like because we are doing a 90-minute race here this time round, that there won't be a rerun of the qualifying, and instead the guys will just be going off the positions that they did qualify in previously and just use that formation lap to actually get themselves in order. So I do apologise for the delay, guys. Just discussing with the coordinators and also some of the admins at AOR, just seeing if we can get ourselves set up for a decent recording, a decent rerun, and actually get some coverage of the main race. So I do apologise for the delay, guys. What I'll do for the moment is just leave the stream running, just try and help sort out the issues and get back in and get the stream back up as soon as we have a lobby up and ready for you guys. So bear with me just for 5 minutes. Hopefully we should be back very, very soon. Stay tuned, and I apologise here for the technical issues that we are having. Hello and welcome back. Apologies for those technical issues that we were suffering. It seems like we are launching back into the session now, and hopefully we should be good to go this time round. We've got a new lobby host, and we also have a new guest in the commentary box as well. I am joined by the one and only King Kodiak.
I invaded his private space, and he's very courteously not kicked me out again. But yes, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I've offered to, as I was actually available this evening. Thursdays are a bit difficult for me these days, so I haven't actually committed to doing the season. However, tonight was a bit of a difference, and I saw there was a bit of trouble going on, so I jumped in to see if I could help, and here I am controlling the cameras.
Yep, so King Kodiak's going to be taking over the director mode this time, which I'm just going to take the broadcaster mode, which means I get a much clutter-free screen, and it just means that I don't need to worry about doing any of the director work and choosing what drivers to watch. Instead, I just get to sit here, stare at the screen, and commentate for you guys. And obviously, KK will be pitching in with the commentary as and when as well, like we always love to do here at AOR.
Indeed, I am taking it that they're going to do a manual grid formation.
Yep.
So, yeah, what a great livery on the LMP3 there.
Yeah,
that's a
Graph
the
Racing
one. Yeah.
Yep, Graph Racing car. It's very nice. A lot of the LMP3 cars do have some real-world liveries as well. So the LMP3 field does certainly look very good. And it's nice to see a pretty even split between the Ginettas and the Ligiers.
Yeah, I noticed that from looking last week as well. Now, if I recall, the Ginetta is the growler and the Ligier is the screamer.
They both growl.
They both growl. I'm thinking of the LMP2s.
Yeah, they both have V8 engines, both producing the same amount of horsepower. They're balanced pretty much perfectly. They are very, very good and nicely balanced. It's just more the GT4 field that's kind of heavily favouring the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Ooh. So there's more V8 goodness there, which I know you are very, very fond of.
I've been known to enjoy the mighty roar. That's a KTM.
Yep, there's a couple of KTM crossbows in the lobby. Weird. And there's also a Ford Mustang Boss as well.
Oh wow! Someone was brave. Then we've unfortunately lost one already. Brake check sadly didn't make the start. But we do have 30 cars. We have got 13 GT4s and 17 LMP1s with us. LMP1s. That's not at all right. LMP3s. That would be exceedingly one-sided.
Yep.
So we're doing a manual grid form here, of course, because of the lobby issues. Generally, people will be forming into their grid positions fairly quickly. We would hope as your qualifying only happened 10-15 minutes ago, so these guys will have formed pretty quickly into their respective positions. And there is the boss. Look at that.
Yep.
Did Empower pole that for GT4? Unfortunately, I didn't catch the actual quality result.
I'm pretty sure he did. When I last saw him, he was there on pole position provisionally. Scott is a very rapid driver. He absolutely kind of stomped the field a little bit last week. He was well out in the lead, and then he had a slight run-in with an LMP3 as it was lapping him, and he had to pit for damage. But he managed to work his way back up through the field from, I believe, somewhere between 6th and 8th position to go and take the win, Kota as well. So, yeah, he's got a lot of pace. Hopefully we'll see a nice battle at the front of the GT4 field.
We have a bit of a gap. We have a hell of a gap forming. The LMP3s are going to have to slow down a little bit. Otherwise, that gap between them and the GT4s is going to be fairly big. Looks like the tail end of the GT4s has now gotten underway, so most people now should be getting into their respective positions. And there is another one of the KTMs, Marauder. Number of names I recognise, but a number of names I don't. So welcome to those that have joined the league, new to AOR or new to the particular league. Always welcome to see new names come and join us.
Definitely, indeed. There's a couple of familiar names as well. I think the LMP3 cars are probably slowing a little bit more, waiting for the GT4 cars. I think as you said, there was a couple that were a little bit slow. But it seems like everybody is now moving, which is good. Hopefully we should have this race underway in just a couple of minutes' time. Yeah, it's mPower who's kind of hurtling off ahead of everyone else. But the rest of the GT4 cars are just coming up behind him now.
mPower did very, very well in the Corvette, I think it was, in the last endurance season.
Yep.
He joined the season a bit late and absolutely stormed it. So again, number of drivers I recognise from the GT3D, Scott in particular, but also from the endurance side. Colonel McCoy commentated on numerous times, so glad to see him. Andrex, of course, the fond champion of the endurance leagues in the Aston, then Dacusa in it's the M3, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I don't know why my brain went completely dead. I've been a little bit unwell, so anyone that caught yesterday's Rocket League commentary will know how badly I was coughing and spluttering through that, so I'm still kind of getting over that. But the show must go on, as they say. As the LMP field looks like they're forming the 2x2 line, so we will be getting what remains of the 90-minute race underway very, very shortly.
Yep, I believe it is Bo that is leading the field. Qualified on pole position in that Ginetta that we see there on the outside, unless it is Jeremy. I believe that is Jeremy who is in pole position. It is, yes. Yeah, unless Jeremy took the pole. So it's anywhere between here and the start-finish line, and Jeremy has gone at the earliest opportunity and has romped off, gaining about a good 5-6 car lengths over Bo as we go in 3 wide into turn 1. So calm it down, boys. We've got an hour and a half of racing, a little bit of contact there between the Ace and Jeremy. No, Jeremy spun! He's spun from the lead. That's going to be very, very costly for him. Hopefully he can get back underway before the GT4 cars. He does, but he drops from first position all the way down into 17th in the LMP3 grid. That was not the start that he would have been hoping for, and I believe that ADAce here is going round the outside of Bo into the bus stop. Can they go 2x2? It looks like they do, but it looks like the Bo... Oh, there's more contact in the background. Car spinning, hitting
Matt Curley, I can't get his name every time I click, he moves. There we go.
Yep, yeah, there he goes. I believe the GT4 cars are coming down into turn 1 now as well. Here they are. Hopefully the start for these guys is a little bit cleaner. It seems like mPower has retained that lead for the moment, with Scott just behind him as they come up through the hill, up turn 2, turn 3. There's a BMW there, I believe. No, that wasn't a BMW. I think that may have been a KTM Crossbow or something. It looked like someone was skirting in the wall in the background.
It was
of the shot.
Maxime Martinez. We've lost one. I think he had a technical problem because it looked like he just went straight into the wall. Oh, and Fusion's gone as well. So we've actually lost a couple of cars on our opening lap.
That's very, very unfortunate. Here we pick that up. Smolder, as the LMP3 cars are starting to come towards the end of their first racing lap. Smolder currently holding 4th, with Ruddy Bird just in front of him, less than half a second. He's got just over a second's gap to Inferno behind. But yeah, very unfortunate for Jeremy, losing the rear of the car on the exit of turn 1 when he had such a promising start on the run down to turn 1. He gained good 5-6 car lengths. Ooh, that's not a healthy looking Ginetta.
No, what remains of it? That's he's had an argument with something pretty solid. Meanwhile, back in the GT4, Scott staying absolutely nailed to the back of mPower and the Mustang. Then it's Conor McCoy and Andrex having their battle. Jeremy has brought his car into the pits. I wouldn't be surprised if Logan does the same. Oh wow, that's every bit of track available to mPower coming through that particular section. Looks like broadly the GT4s are okay, as we have lost a few of them. So we're down to... We've lost another indeed. Down to 11 GT4s. Ticklish Bicklewiggle, I think, has gone. So, wow, that's 3 GT4s in the opening lap.
That's very unfortunate. We're down to 15 LMP3s as well. We started the race with 17, but as you say, both Logan and also Jeremy in the pits getting damage repairs. Hopefully they can get out relatively soon and hopefully salvage something from this race. Andrex at the moment is getting pretty close to the back of Colonel McCoy as they come up through turn 3. Colonel McCoy having a slight slide there at the top of the hill. Andrex has got a little bit of a run and looking to the outside as they come in to approach the bus stop.
Yeah, here they come then looking to... Well, the 2x2 has already been proven that it doesn't work particularly well. And now the guys are probably going to start... Wow, that is so loose for Colonel McCoy. He's going to have a long day if that's how he's going to be attacking every single corner. And that seems to be the... I know there's not a massive amount of downforce on the GT4s, but wow, that looks lively from the Aston for Colonel McCoy. But back up front, the lead of the LMP3s, Bo has broken away to about 1.5 seconds over Aid the Ace. And there he is. Then it is Ruddy Bird and Smolder in a short battle for third position. Then Inferno and Marco the Pirate all heading on down towards the bus stop area. Then Flaming Parrot is a couple of seconds behind. Oh, bit of a lag there for Marco the Pirate. And then Aaron's got a little bit of company there in the form of Minesco and Brzancek. And then we saw Matt Cooley have that big incident on the opening lap coming into the bus stop, but he's still going. He's 1.1 off the back of Brzancek. He looks set to get involved in that particular battle. Minesco's just lost the position to Brzancek on the outside, coming through the outer loop. That's you either made a mistake or that was a great move from Brzancek.
Yeah, one of the two. Seems like it may have been a mistake by Minnesota. It could have actually been potentially a slowdown going through the bus stop chicane, because he's dropped to over a second behind Brzancek, and it'll be surprising to lose that amount of time going round the outer loop in that turn 5 there. But yeah, with the GT4 cars, the Aston Martin is a little bit looser. Oh, we got side by side with Colonel McCoy and Andrex there as they come up over the hill. Be careful, boys. It's pretty difficult to go side by side around here, but it looks like Andrex has momentarily slotted himself around the outside and up into third position. Will he be able to hold it into the bus stop as Colonel McCoy is trying to pick up the slipstream, looking back to the inside? Is Andrex going to give him the room? He is, but Andrex for the moment is going to hold that position, and Colonel McCoy is going to have to slot in back behind him again. But yeah, last week it did seem like the Aston Martins were quite loose. The KTM crossbows were very stable and planted, but I think here in the spectator and broadcaster modes, the slides are slightly more exaggerated than what they are actually experiencing. However, when you do catch a little moment like that, which Colonel McCoy did, that is probably a little bit more accurate to what they're kind of experiencing.
Yeah, Andrews will be very, very happy with that outside move coming through the outer loop to secure that. I was actually into the inner loop, beg your pardon, to secure that position. But Colonel McCoy is absolutely determined to stay with Andrex. Absolutely fair and square. Oh, gets a bit of a wiggle on. Jeremy has made his way through the pits, and ouch! That's a very unhappy. That's one of the Astons. Oh, Carlito is.
Jeremy's wide.
Well, Jeremy's trying to make his way through the field. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I mean, it looks a fairly straight overtake. I think he just overcooked it. It's so easy to do into turn 8, but he had given his tyres a bit of a shake there to try and get them back good again. Logan is also trying to recover, so he is coming through that.
He's pretty much a lap down on the LMP3 cars as well.
Yeah, that's I was going to say. That's
no! That's devastating. Bo has just gone into the... I think that may have been Jeremy.
It was. Jeremy's retired. Oh my goodness.
Wow. That's going to be quite substantial damage for Bo, I imagine. That's gone and handed the lead to Aid the Ace as well. It's being swamped by two Ginettas behind him, as Inferno's trying to work his way through the traffic as well. So we're already starting to get the LMP3 field mingling in with the GT4 cars and lapping. Yeah, you can see just how much slower Bo is with that damage, with the collision there on the on that start-finish line. That's really, really unfortunate for him.
Oh, what a strange mistake from Jeremy, because I mean that was quite some way past the pit entrance. So I guess he's just gotten unsettled coming out of the final turn, turn 11, and it's just ended up sideways along the track. But what a shame for Bo. He was comfortably in the lead. I mean, he had about 1.2 seconds over Aid the Ace. But Aid now has 6.2 seconds over Ruddy Bird. So Aid the Ace is fairly comfortable at the moment, but as we've just proven, anything can change very, very quickly. Inferno coming past. That is, I think that's Bo, isn't it?
That's Logan. That's Logan.
Oh, it's Logan.
Yeah.
Who's, of course, a lap down on the fields. Is trying his best to kind of get through the GT4 field. But, oh my goodness, how quickly that's all shaken up. Here comes Aaron. That's going to relieve Bo of another position. That I would imagine Bo's going to be in the pits for a while with that one.
Yeah, I imagine he's got quite substantial damage at the front of the car. These LMP3 cars do have no assist whatsoever. They don't have traction control or ABS. So, oh, there's contact there between the GT4 and one of the other drivers. I believe that was Inferno, who was in 5th position. He's now dropped down into 6th. There we can see Bo in the background diving into the pit lane to try and get the damage repaired. I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end of the race. It was Carlito who was caught up in that. Possibly just a little bit of miscommunication there between the GT4 and the LMP3 and that lapping situation. But yeah, that looks like quite substantial damage to the front of that GT4. I think he made contact with the wall. As we see Bo stopping in his pit box, seeming to take on fuel. He'll probably take on tyres and yeah, try and get the damage repaired as well. But yeah, here is, as correctly pointed out in the chat, Scott is leading M-Power, so there's been a change for lead in GT4.
As indeed. So the mighty Mustang now chasing off after the Aston. There in the background is Andrex, who's got himself a little bit of a gap between himself and Conor McCoy. Dakuta is in that back battle as well in the M3. Was who's in the white LMP?
Smolder, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, fairly regularly, as we tend to see in the multi-class racing, the LMPs will come through fairly regularly on our GT cars, such as the nature of the beast. I'm really surprised at how many incidents we've seen already. We're only just hitting kind of 15-minute mark, and that included the opening formation lap. So, wow, a few people are going to have to, I think, may have a few words to be said to them about how they're going to go about the multi-class racing. But these things happen, particularly when you have newcomers to a league. There's things to learn. And mistakes happen to the best of them, of course. But some unusual mistakes going on.
Yeah, it does usually take a couple of races just for everyone to kind of see where everyone's at and kind of pick up their tendencies and things. Everyone tends to be quite cautious on the first race, just to be a bit friendly and kind of try and settle in, and then they start to push it a little bit more around round 2 and round 3. Here we're seeing M-Power though is having a little bit of a look to Scott, so we'll get onto the multi-class chat in a second. M-Power's got the legs over the Aston Martin coming down the straight. It was last week the Aston Martin had the legs over everyone else in the straight line. This time it's the Ford Mustang, and M-Power has managed to get himself around the ends outside, going into the inner loop and bus stop chicane, and has gone and retaken the lead in GT4.
Beautifully done, very smooth, so close between these two, and no contact, no contact that we've seen at least. Oh, was Scott taking a slightly tighter line coming through. That's through turn 6 now. Oh, he's gone for that inside line. That's a banked curve. So there's Aston once again coming up into the lead. You do get the feeling though, with the pace of these two, they are going to be doing this for quite some time. Side by side again, coming into turn 8, coming into the hill, absolutely swarmed by LMP cars. And the Aston once again comes back up into the lead. I love just seeing how well they're controlling the slide of these cars. That is just absolutely cracking to see. Now the LMP cars, oh wow, someone's getting a little bit stuck. Oh, big tank slapper there for M-Power. Now he's got a lot of LMP cars on this outside. He's going to be a little bit careful about how he navigates those. As a reminder, it is up to the faster car to navigate their way past the slower one. It is not up to the slower cars to jump out of the way, and indeed they're encouraged not to, so that it makes the line of the faster cars much more easier to plan and predict. So, but even still, when you've got a swarm of cars on your outside, you don't want to slide into them. So that must have been a little bit of an interesting moment there for M-Power.
Yeah.
But,
sorry.
Aid leads away now by 11.3 seconds. Wow, he really has gotten to grips with the LMP3. As it's charging off, Ruddybird and Smolder are still fairly close together. That's the battle for second. Inferno and Aaron are roughly half a second apart in their LMPs as they come through the bus stop area through turn 5. And then the rest of the field are fairly spread out, with the exception of Scott M-Power, as we previously saw. And Dakuta is now on the back of Conor McCoy. That is about for 4th in the GT4 class.
Yeah, it seems like Conor McCoy's dropped off the back of Andrex a little bit and fallen into the hands of Dakuta. It's good to see a BMW in the GT4 field. So obviously there's a lot of Aston Martins, and it's always nice to see a little bit of variety. So it's great to see Dakuta picking that BMW and M-Power picking the Ford Mustang. Seems like at this stage in the race that Dakuta seems to have a slight upper hand on Colonel McCoy at the moment. Seems to be pretty eager to try and find a way past. If I remember correctly, from my very limited experience of driving GT4 cars, the BMW is a pretty good quick car, but it's pretty slow in shifting up and down through the gearbox. It seems to be a little bit slower than the other cars, so even though it gets initially a good run coming off of corners, when it actually comes to changing gear they lose out a little bit and get pegged back slightly, which is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, and not really something you could do a lot about.
No.
Smolder's on the move. Because we've reset the lobby, I actually have the race feed box working, and it's just informed me that Smolder is the fastest in the first sector. So Smolder then really pressing on. And no sooner do I say that, than Inferno then goes and grabs that fastest section. So got a few people there trying to... it could be slipstream enabled, because both Smolder and Inferno are chasing someone. But we've got a few people then trying to close down, but I'm just stunned by AD8's pace, even despite the fact that the last time around, AD8 and Ruddy Bird were matched each other to the thousandth of a second.
Yep.
So that's impressive in itself, but I mean, it's good to see that AD8 isn't... I say he's not running off with it, he's got nearly 15 seconds worth of lead, but that's mainly because of that battle going on, and of course, you know, whilst you're battling... Oh dear, that's a rearranged accident.
Yeah, it is. It's not looking healthy.
No, indeed. We'll check in with the rest of our competitors. We won't just stare at the same few guys, or they are the guys are fighting. Still a fair way to go, over an hour's worth of racing to fulfill. Let's see where everybody is. There is our race leader, AD8, coming onto the back straight, heading down towards the bus stop. Then it is Ruddybird and Smolder in their battle for second, as previously mentioned. Then it is Aaron, who now has accompanied by two LMPs. He's got Inferno directly behind him, and Brezanchik has closed in on me. Brezanchik gained, 1.2 seconds on Inferno last lap around. So Inferno had a bit of a problem, I'd have thought, and that's how Brezanchik closed back in on them. Then it is Minesco. He is 8 seconds behind Brezanchik at the moment, and is just starting to climb the hill through turns 2 and 3. Matt Cooley in the American liveried Graf racing car. He is about 1.2 behind Minesco. They are settling into their rhythm. Then it is Flaming Parrot, who's got himself a penalty. We have 3 drivers on the board with a penalty. 2 seconds for Flaming Parrot. He finds himself in 9th position, 19 seconds behind Matt Cooley. And our our front row sitter, Bo, down in 10th. What a... Just amazing that just unraveled for him so quickly. And actually, Flaming Parrot had a terrible lap last time with a 49.9, so that's about 11 seconds off the pace of where the other LMPs are. So that's actually the GT4 leaders he's chasing there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is Bo on the same lap as Flaming Parrot in front of him? Do we know? Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Yes.
So he must have not picked up too much damage in that pit stop.
He's been through the pits already, hasn't he? That's why he's with that huge incident he had when he hits Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's working his way through the pits. But he's getting back into the 38, so he's pretty well. And we have another pitter. It's Aaron. No obvious damage on the car, so I'm assuming that's planned.
There's a little bit of damage on the side there.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't look like it would impact the car in any way. There may be a little bit of possibly rear end damage, so there could be some rear wing damage there, which you'll get that repaired. But yeah, Bo in 10th place. He's only 2 positions away from being back into the points. He sees working his way through the GT4 leaders, splitting the 2 of them at the moment as he comes into the final turn. Seems like he'll be hopping up ahead of Aaron. So Aaron's still in the pit stop, or in the pit lane there, making his stop. So Bo is currently up into 9th place. I do believe that Bo will need to make another stop in this race. He won't be able to go the full distance. I could potentially be wrong there, actually, because I did just remember that last week the LMP3 cars were able to do the full hour distance as well without running into any fuel issues, unless the guys just ran it close, which I remember Bo did do. He was very, very marginal on fuel. I think he came across the line with 0.1 litres of fuel. So it was very much lifting, coasting in that last lap. But yeah, there you can see 71 litres just underneath that at the moment. So yeah, although this is a bit of a fuel hungry track, someone was saying in the chat, I think he may, with an hour and 7 minutes remaining, he might be able to get to the end of the race on that. I don't know. We shall see.
I wouldn't have thought so. I would expect him to be in again, personally, but
Yeah.
probably a splash and dash towards the end. But we'll see. He may well do some amazing fuel saving as the race progresses. Now, that's the name I do recognise. I believe, Intergalactic Gentleman, didn't he migrate over from Xbox?
I am not entirely sure. It's not a name I'm familiar with, other than obviously seeing him last week in round 1. Yeah.
I recognise Intergalactic Gentleman from the forum. I've got it in my head that he's an Xbox migratee, so welcome to you. Oh, new fastest lap of the race by the person we were just talking about.
Both.
Just done 35.8. My goodness, he's actually closed 4 seconds in on the lead. He's definitely on the move. So you expect we'll see how well Bo can translate that into the results. Aaron is back out on field. That would be race leader 88 coming through in that distinctive green livery. Reminds me of the Jaguar riff when seeing that one.
Yeah, Aaron just caught the curve rather awkwardly, and there was a big hop as he came through the final turn and gave the race leader plenty of room. But yeah, like I said earlier at the start of the race, there's a lot of really nice liveries on these LMP3 cars. Do like them quite a lot.
Logan, who is minding his own business, he was also an early pitter and finding himself 40 seconds behind Aaron, but 34 seconds ahead of Jay Beaches, who is the tail of the LMPs at the moment. And he carries on going and will hopefully be able to catch back up with the rest of the LMPs in the next few laps. Then it is our GT4s. Where are they? There they are. Scott and Empower have been pretty much... Whoa! Empower got tired a little bit wide. That's Smolder. Oh, no, it's not Smolder, beg your pardon. I'm not sure who that is. By the way, they had a
Intergalactic Gentleman, I believe that is.
Oh, good call. Yes, it is indeed. Wow, that would have made him a tad nervous because Empower went a little wide coming through turn 6.
Yep.
Oh, that's 88 again.
Yep, I think that's the race leader. He's having a look down the inside. Empower's spotted them this time and given them ample room coming through the turn. Oh, there's one of the other Ligiers coming through as well. Not entirely sure who that is, but yeah. Oh, Milo in the pits with a rather bent-looking Aston Martin.
I can't believe Carlito is still out there. I don't think he's been through the pits yet because that car still looks... I mean, okay, the shell doesn't get repaired, but he presses on nonetheless, in fairness. So our top two, Scott and Empower, are still locked to their battle. Andrix is only 3.3 or so behind it and was lapping quicker than the pair of them in the last lap. So it's not unfathomable that Andrix will join that particular battle at some stage. He gained, what? 2/10. Yeah, 2/10 on Scott. Half a second on Empower, but Empower, we saw, was getting out of the way. Oh, what's happened to Intergalactic Gentleman? He has found Aaron. Or he's had a problem and had to slow down and Aaron's come past him. I've just suddenly seen those two swap position.
I think Intergalactic Gentleman has been chasing down Aaron. I think Aaron was the guy who was just behind the Ace on the previous lap that was working his way through the traffic. So yeah, I think Intergalactic Gentleman has closed up a few seconds on Aaron.
Gunnar McCoy, fourth in the GT4s, is 4 seconds behind Andrex and is ahead of David Alex by around about 7 seconds. Very distinctive green Aston. That's another bent Aston directly ahead of him. Then there's our lead KTM of Nyla, who is another one with a penalty on the board. 2 seconds for you. And 2 seconds for Dakusa as well. Was it Dakusa? No, it was Milo and Neela. Beg your pardon, misread that.
Yep.
Flaming Parrot's in. That looks a fairly clean car, so...
I think that's just, yeah, stop for fuel.
Guess so. Oh, we've lost... Who did we
Driver.
just lose? We've lost somebody and he didn't come up on the board. we have lost one of our LMPs, I think.
There is now 12.
That's a bit of a shame. Dakuta continues to press on in. That's had an argument with saying a little solid since we last looked at it. Oh, ow, yes, on that right side. But, I mean, that can be done by exactly what he's just done there, just taking that corner slightly too wide and skimming the wall. So, Dakuta pressing on in the M3, then it is Gnarly in the Aston, red and white Aston. He is 24 seconds behind Dakuta and 27 seconds ahead of the second KTM of Rorda, who leads 30 seconds over that bent, reshapen green Aston we saw earlier of Milo. And then it is Carlito at the tail of the field, who's had several arguments with several very solid things, as Brzezinski brings his car in.
Yep, 46 litres of fuel, so I think this could be just potentially a splash, well, not necessarily a splash and dash, but more a change of tyres. This is a race that did start at 7 PM in game time, so it is in and around sunset. There is just the 1x real-time time acceleration, so it will get later and it will get a little bit cooler, but shouldn't be too much that they need to change tyres for. We've got Scott that we're riding on board with at the moment, looking all over the back of Empower in that Ford Mustang directly there in front of us. The two guys have been battling out for the lead in class for pretty much the entire duration of the race as they go and launch the car into the corner.
Is that Logan?
No.
No, it isn't. What I just went ooh at is whoever that is behind Andres just smashed into the wall trying to come past him, but Andres wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just they did exactly what I was talking about earlier, just taking that turn 9 a little bit too wide and bounced off the wall. Whereas I said skimmed off the wall last time, it was very much an impact for say whoever that is trying to come past Andres. Oh my goodness me!
Scott pushing Empower up the hill. He's now got the inside. Oh, Empower may have a slowdown penalty. He may have ran wide on the exit of turn 1. He's given that position up to Scott, and yeah, he's definitely got to slow down. He's trying to bleed off the speed before getting to the bus stop chicane. Very unfortunate for him.
Indeed. So is this going to be an opportunity for Scott to start to run off into the distance? With how close those two have been, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Empower closes that in as Milo brings his car into the pits again from, say, the tail end of the GT4s. Bo is now on the back of Minesco. This is for 5th position. And they come past the black KTM, who I think it was also slowing down, possibly for the same reason we just saw Empower. But will Minesco put up a fight? He's perfectly entitled to, but again, you realistically know who you're in a fight with. Oh, gets a bit snaky, but well, he doesn't have the choice now. Left the door open on the inside, and Bo flew through it. That's 5th position then for Bo. Very nice.
Yep, making very, very good progress as he's trying to make his race recovery after the unfortunate incident at the start. Seeing a couple of the drivers actually in the chat. TBW is there, so is Matt Cooley. Matt Cooley was having some, looks like FPS and screen tearing issues with it all over the place, and Bernetto was one of the other drivers who has lost connection, and then yeah, TBW has got taken out by a lagging car that sent him into the air and unfortunately clipped through the map.
Oh dear. I did see a blue dot right in the middle of nowhere and thinking that was some major impact or something gone horribly wrong there. He's driving home already. He's off of the car park. So Empower then doing what he can to close back in that gap that's now it was just under a second between himself and the Aston. And he certainly can do it. He's proven how quick he is in these circumstances. So that GT4 lead is not done at all. Just it looks so effortless when I know what happens when I try it. It's anything but. It's mental soaring on the wheel for me to control a slide like that. It just looks so, so effortless for him.
Yeah,
I'm not jealous at all.
I think it's just the replay and spectator mode is probably. I think the attitude in terms of the car's direction is correct. I think it's just the front wheels that are a little bit deceptive.
So it may be just perfectly not calm and normal. It just doesn't quite look it from outside.
Yeah, correct. And just looking at Bo's lap times at the moment, he was about a second slower than the leader on the previous lap. That gap's been hanging in and around about a minute between Aid the Ace and Bo. But he's got some very strong pace. He's working his way up through the field. Obviously, a couple of guys have pitted, so he's gained some positions through that, and I'm pretty sure that Bo will need to pit himself again, as you mentioned earlier. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he actually comes out, but it looks like he may be actually picking up a couple of points this race, as he's coming up to the back of Andrex to pass and put another lap on him.
Oh, was that? Goodness me, he's closed that gap in already.
He has.
As M-Power's now, the battle is on once again. And I'm assuming that Scott just, wow, M-Power just did a 51.7. I don't think any of the GT4s have gotten anywhere near that kind of pace previously. Admittedly, I haven't been kind of watching it too much, but that's an absolute stonking lap time from M-Power. I think Scott may have had one of the green Astons to navigate round, but that's reintroduced this battle once again. Oh wow! Now that certainly was a slide. But very nicely done. And once again, Scott's probably just thinking, "What do I have to do to get away from you?"
Yeah, it's really interesting because obviously the Aston Martins last week had the legs over the KTM. The KTM was really, really good through the corners. We see Bo working his way through the leaders in GT4 here as well. So actually M-Power's having a look around the outside of Scott into this long sweeping right-hander of the turn 7 as we come through the boot section of the circuit. But yeah, the Aston Martin, or shall I say the KTM, looked really good in the corners last week, and the Aston looked quite a handful but had the legs on the straights. This time round, it seems like the Aston Martin seems okay through the corners, but the Ford is equaling it, but then is also much better in a straight line.
Jay Peaches came in a little while ago, so repair, possibly new tyres, but certainly top of your fuel tank for you. I didn't see how much fuel the GT4 started with. Have they got 100 litre tanks like the GT3s?
I think more than 100 litres. If you jump to Scott, see how much fuel he's got. So he's got, 68.4. I know Scott tends to run a full fuel tank. He did so last week. He's doing so again this week. You see that M-Power's got a little bit less with 55.6 litres. Andrex is Scott's teammate, and I know that Andrex likes to take just about the right amount of fuel, as we're seeing M-Power having a look to the outside of Scott coming into the bus stop. Yeah, that wasn't really going to work. He wasn't far enough alongside, and that gap that was there on the outside was only just going to diminish. So yeah, very unfortunate for M-Power. Andrex looked like he's taken a full tank as well. He's got 65 litres, so it's taking a bit more than M-Power. But I imagine they'll need to do a splash and dash in this race.
It's not going to be a case of one car's only thirstier than another, is it?
Potentially. I mean, Ford Mustangs aren't known for their fuel economy, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
but that's what, 13 litres difference. That seems a tad extreme if it was down to that. But yeah, I think it's a fair bet that M-Power may well have started with a lighter car, which makes Scott's effort, keeping M-Power at bay that much more impressive.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It'll be interesting to see how much fuel they come out with in the pit stops as well, to get an idea as to what their fuel usage actually is. But talking of pit stops, M-Power coming into the pits.
Yeah, that's caught me by surprise, certainly, and Scott will no doubt welcome that. Yeah, interesting.
I think M-Power may just be looking for a bit of space. You've seen that he's gone half a second quicker than Scott on a good lap. He's probably thinking if he can get himself into a load of clear air, he can just run his pace and undercut Scott and get himself a decent lead.
Good call. Good call. And Yeah, Andrex gained about half a second-ish on Scott last time around, so I don't think it was a great lap by Scott, in fairness, but still leads by 4.7 seconds over his teammate. We're looking at now, gliding his way through the bus stop once again. The field fairly spread out now. We're down to 22 cars now, and we've lost another of our LMPs. But we have 11 of each now.
We got 10 LMP3s. And
No, 11. JP Peters is still there. He had a pit stop earlier that dropped him right into the middle. That catches me out as well. Oh, doing a bit of lawn mowing as well. What's his out there?
Yeah, a little bit of grass cutting with that front splitter. One thing that I have noticed is Bo is back down into the he was back down into the 35s. He's now back down into the 37s and is lapping a good, this time around a second and a half quicker than the race leader, Aid the Ace. Is actually, that looks like M-Power going down the inside of Neela for 5th position. So M-Power did come out in and around some traffic after his pit stop. Neela's having a little bit of a look back at the Mustang. You can see the cornering difference there, but you'll see Mustang just pull car lengths away on the straights ahead of the KTM, as the KTM can't really hold a candle to him in a straight line, which is quite unfortunate, as quite a lot of the American tracks have quite long straights and are quite power demanding. Although Long Beach will be an interesting one because there's a lot of tight and twisty sections with those walls rather close. So it'll be interesting to see how that car fares in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I have commentated on Long Beach once, so I'll be really looking forward to seeing how that race unfurls. Nyla looks like he's doing his best to hang on to the back of the Mustang, but it's going to be quite a tall ask, I think, for KTM to stay in touch with the Mustang. Certainly seeing the pace that M-Power's put on. How much fuel did he got? He's 90 litres on board, so pretty much put in what he feels he needs to get to the end of the race. I would think 90 litres would probably get him to the end now, so unless he has a major incident, we won't be seeing him back in the pits again. Inferno has lost a position to Bo, so Bo now up to 4th, but he's got 30 seconds to close down to Smolder. He certainly can do it with the pace he's showing, but this is very much the embodiment of never give up.
Yeah, definitely. He's in that 4th position now, as you say, so he's got some clear air. It looks like the next bunch of cars up in front of him are all GT4 cars. There's his view on board. He's got a bit of a cracked windscreen from that earlier impact. But the car looks very compliant, very stable through the corners, just absolutely just chucking it in, and the thing's just absolutely sticking. Placing the car exactly where he wants it.
They're such great cars to drive, the LMPs. The LMP3s. Ironically, I'm okay with the LMP3s. I love the LMP3s. The LMP1s that terrify the crap out of me, but I'm okay with it. It's the LMP2s I struggle with. To the day, I don't know why. I always seem to struggle with the LMP2s.
I can kind of see why they can be quite loose on the rear, especially downshifting. I tend to find I have to take quite a bit out of the engine braking to make them work and kind of fiddle with the diff a little bit. As we see, that's Neela diving into the pits to make his pit stop. There he goes. But yeah, the LMP2 cars are good fun to drive. They don't quite have the same amount of downforce as obviously the LMP1s. They just produce insane amounts of downforce and have huge amounts of grip, and then they've got stupid amounts of power as well to go with it. But yeah, the LMP2s are a bit more of a raw experience and a bit more of a driver's car, and you kind of have to handle them a little bit.
Vanessa goes in. 28 litres still in the tank, so I would imagine that car looks absolutely showroom clean, so it doesn't look like he's had an argument with anything. Not many that haven't, actually, in fairness. Keeping an eye also on M-Power. Where is he? M-Power's 51.8. So M-Power has got out and absolutely gone on it. So I think you were absolutely right, Yorkie, when he wanted some space. So prompted when he came in. He's absolutely going for it now. Oh, a little bit deep coming through turn 7, but nothing's going to lose him too much time. But it's all going to be where... Where's he gone? There he is. Scott still hasn't gone. He's still not coming in either. That last lap, 152.7, so very respectable. Andrex with a 53.5, so a little slower on that one, but still 47 minutes of the race to go. We are approaching the halfway stage. Colonel McCoy, a decent lap there, 52.8. So he's well, minding his own business, but still pressing on. But yeah, Empower most certainly going for the undercut.
Yeah, he's got Dave Alex about 2.5 seconds up the road. That's quite wide, and that could be a slowdown potentially for Empower. Doesn't seem like he's slowing down though. Yeah, he's continuing on. What was this previous lap time? 52.2, so decent pace there. Still half a second quicker than Scott was on the previous lap, so he's able to work his way up through the field relatively quickly. As we can see, Dave Alex there in the foreground with Empower hunting him down in the background. I don't think Dave will probably put up too much of a fight, knowing that he'll need to pit at some point as well. And obviously it will just cost him more time to the drivers in front, although he is a good 20 seconds behind Colonel McCoy, so unless he can really find some extra pace, it may be a bit of a struggle for Dave Alex to close up onto the back of Colonel McCoy in front.
Yeah, I think so. Again, realistically, you know who you're in a fight with, and Dave Alex will acknowledge that Empower really isn't who he needs to be targeting, but 88 has continued to extend his lead, and it is now 25 seconds. Minesco's in again.
Interesting.
How
One
odd.
Yeah, one thing I was going to point out, 88 popped himself into the mid-35s as well. 35.4 on the previous lap. Bo has gone and lost a good 5, actually more than that, about 7 or 8 seconds to 88, because Bo was under a minute by a couple of seconds, probably about 10-15 minutes ago. So I think it may have just been traffic, caught him at an unfortunate point and kind of struggled to work their way past. But yeah, 88, 25 second lead now has over Ruddy Bird.
He can pretty much just coast, but not quite. But he can pretty, like, ignore top gear or something, and he will still be fairly comfortable. There is Empower. But 88 is coming past, along with Dave Alex. Oh, behave. There we go. And that's actually quite a good demonstration as to why you need the GT4s to, well, you need the slower car class, whatever that is, to behave themselves and to do a predictable line. 88's committed quite early to the passing move. If suddenly Dave Alex was trying to be helpful and tried to jump out of the way, he'd have actually jumped in front of 88 and caused a hell of a big crash. So there is exactly why the slower class are always told, stay on the racing line, don't jump out of the way, unless you do it so early that the faster car can see exactly what you're doing. But generally the faster car will need you to be well, another prime example there. That could have got a little nasty.
Yeah, it could have. It's, in a way, the slower class cars just need to pretend that the other cars aren't on the track, but obviously in moments like that you do need to be wary and obviously have your eyes in your mirrors to make sure that you are spotting those drivers coming up behind you for when they do poke down the inside. So we're starting to see a few penalties popping up on the board. Ruddy Bird's got a second, so has Brzanczyk. Logan has got a second penalty, so has Colonel McCoy and Empower as well. They've both now got a 1 second penalty. There's a couple more that I didn't quite catch there, but Empower on the move. Oh, thank you. Nilo got 3 seconds, 2 seconds for Gnarly, and then 1 second for Milo, who's last in the GT4 class. But yeah, Empower's now managed to get himself up into 4th place in the GT4 class and managed to pop himself ahead of Dave Alex.
Quite considerably. That's 2.5 seconds between the two. Yeah, it was Empower's penalty I spotted earlier. It's only a small one. It's probably the one that you clocked earlier when he went too wide on that last turn. It does take a while to count down. There's Intergalactic Gentleman coming in from 8th position in the LMPs. 30 litres still on board, so He won't necessarily need to top it off, but it kind of depends on the driver's
He is taking fuel.
He'll take fuel, but he won't refill the way, I'd have thought. Unless, well, he might do. 63, so...
Go.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Go! The Lollipop Man is instructed to go. I think you could go.
He's going to stand there and admire the scenery for a while.
Yep. Maybe taking a quick break to stretch his arms and legs. There's Peaches coming into the first turn. It's an interesting and slightly deceptive corner. It's quite nice to hook up the inside, and you can kind of almost skirt the curb on the inside, but it's two-tiered, and if you do catch it nastily, especially in these LMP cars where you want to be ultra smooth and you don't want to clobber the curves too much, because that will just take away the downforce going through the corners. So yeah, you want to try and be as smooth as possible, and obviously clipping those curbs isn't going to be too great for that. Here we see Scott coming up over the hill, turns 2 and 3. He's got
That's a great fly collection he's got on the front of the car.
Yeah, there's bits of marble and rubber as well. There's probably a few bugs lingering in the air at this time of night as well. There is Andrex, just under 3 seconds, separates the leading pair at the moment.
Andrex gained a second on his teammate last time around.
Ah, interesting.
And M-Power sits currently around 30, rough mass, 32 seconds behind the class leader.
And there he is, being passed by one of the Janettas.
I can't get enough of that roar as they all come past. The only one, ironically, is the odd one out is the KTM. Oh, that didn't go quite M-Power's way. He might get a penalty because he did kind of jump over the last apex coming out of that bus stop area. Little bit squirrely.
Seems to be okay. Seems to be pressing on at the moment. So I don't think he did get that slowdown penalty. I think it's if they do just take too much curb, then yeah, they'll probably get that slowdown warning.
There's still 50 litres in Scott's car. And 45 in Andrex's, so yeah. It's not, the pit stop's not mandatory.
No.
So if they feel like it, and if they can eke the tyres and the fuel out, they can try and go to the line. And again, Scott's lost another significant chunk of time over Andrex. It's 6 or 7 tenths that time.
Yeah, I think maybe Scott has eased off a little bit. He's possibly doing a little bit of fuel saving. Obviously, being in the slipstream of M-Power and battling with him earlier on probably would have helped preserve a little bit of fuel, whereas Andrex was battling with Colonel McCoy earlier, but he did manage to get himself up into 3rd position within the first few laps, and has been running without anybody really in front of him to help him along for pretty much the entirety of this race, as Dave Alex is trundling down the pit lane to make his pit stop.
Logan's in as well, so a few people choosing now to get their stop done. ADS, I was going to say, ADS has got to be running the tank fairly low. It's not 12 litres on, he'll get another half a dozen laps at least out of that, but he'll be in soon.
He's lost a whole load of time as well. He's now less than 19, less than 20 seconds between him and Ruddy Bird.
Yeah. It's about 6 seconds he's lost.
Yeah. Ruddy Bird was 8 tenths quicker on the previous lap, so maybe ADS has just turned the pace down a little bit and just trying to eke out a little bit of fuel. But yeah, that gap between the lead pair has come down a little bit. The gap between ADS, there you go, 1:45 on the previous lap. That's where he lost all his time.
Oh dear.
He must have had a mistake somewhere along the line. Half spin.
Yeah, it must have been. You don't lose that much time being stuck behind someone, not unless you're stuck behind them for half a lap. It is not exactly likely. And oh, Andrex, he's now within a second of Scott. So I wonder if Scott's got a problem, because Scott's got more fuel on board than Andrex does. So either he's just backing off exactly as you say, or I wonder if he's actually, maybe he's hit the wall, he's got some damage on there.
There is some speculation in the chat that I'm seeing that Scott is planning on doing the entire race on this one tank of fuel. I mean, he has got a little bit more than Andrex, but if he can last the remaining 37 minutes, that would be very, very impressive. But that could explain his pace. He could be doing a bit more lifting and coasting to try and save that fuel and try and eke it out a little bit more, just to make sure that he's safe when it comes towards the end of the race and he doesn't need that splash and dash.
So this is going to bring Andrex into play then, because they can then essentially just kind of slipstream off each other for a while. You know, a bit more coordinated than we were seeing with Scott and Empower. Of course, they were fighting one another, but they could really play the slipstream game. Andrex could drag Scott along for a while, and if Andrex starts to burn a little bit too much fuel, they're going to swap around. There he goes. So that'll be a simple move. We've just lost someone from the race. We've lost one of our GT4s. Who did we lose? I'm always terrible at trying to identify this.
It can be quite difficult with these driver tags. Sometimes they don't always 100% match up with their actual names.
Hopefully they'll appear in the chat and inform us of what's going on. But yeah, I wonder whether Andrex may well not necessarily try to sprint off from his teammate and just give him a bit of slipstream to help with that fuel conservation. Although, if that's the case, surely it should be the other way around, as Andrex has less fuel on board.
Yeah. Well,
we will
unless
see.
Andrex is actually planning on making a splash and dash towards the end of the race, and he is just trying to help out his teammate. Although I don't think that Scott is quite close enough to Andrex to really be making full effects of that. He's about half a second off. He'll be getting a little bit of slipstream, but probably not the amount that he actually wants.
But yeah, I'm looking at the time left and the fuel he's got, and I'm not convinced he needs the same in it. It'd be interesting to see. He's got 44 litres now, 35 minutes near as damn it still on the clock. I'm going to see what the difference between the numbers are when he comes to lap again, because I'm not sure he needs to fuel save, which kind of leads me to believe he's got a problem.
I think he is doing it just to be safe, just so that he knows that in the back of his own mind that he will have that fuel for the end, because I've had it a couple of times in endurance races where I'm like, okay, I'll try and eke out the fuel a little bit and see how it goes, knowing that I will need to pit at some point, but then you do kind of half wonder, do I still have enough fuel? Am I doing the right amount of fuel saving to be getting the target that I'm actually wanting?
I mean, who could forget, last season at Monza?
Yeah, well, that was me just putting the right amount of fuel in the final stop. That wasn't any planned strategy in terms of lifting and coasting to try and fuel save. That was just, I need this amount of fuel for my final stop. I'll probably chuck on an extra couple of litres just to be safe. And yeah, it worked out.
I mean, having a bigger fuel tank than the Audis, I would imagine helped you quite a bit.
Yes. That too. I think the guys just kind of got their fuel calculations slightly wrong, because you do practice and you do learn and look at how much fuel you're using per lap, and then you do factor that in and do the calculation and work out how much you actually need. But then in and around that, you do also obviously come across traffic. You're not always running 100% at your own pace and not quite always using the same amount of fuel. And also with that formation lap at the start, your average fuel consumption per lap is lower than what you would use in a practice session running in clear air, doing consistent lap times within half a second of each other. So the numbers do throw you a little bit, and then you're kind of trying to work out the amount that you actually need on the fly and trying to count that into your pit stop. As you see, the Ace coming into the pits with 4.3 litres.
Andrex led by 2 seconds just now, and he no longer is. That's Colonel McCoy challenging him for second. Something's happened to Andrex. He was nearly 2 seconds ahead. I mean, look at his lap time last time around, 51.9.
He's got a lot of damage on the rear.
Oh no!
I see a lot of damage on the rear of Andrex's car. So maybe he caught a curb wrong, or there may have been an incident with an LMP3. That is either there's been a significant impact on the rear of his car, either from an LMP3 car, another GT4 car, or whatever, or he's swapped ends and gone backwards into the wall, which would explain why Colonel McCoy has managed to close up quite considerably.
Yeah, and that's... is Andrex going to come in this time to sort that out? With half an hour still on the clock. Might be worth him doing. Yeah, but he comes. Oh, what a shame, because, I mean, he looked like he was set to kind of... He got himself nearly 2-second lead over his teammate, and, we've just lost Logan. Logan came into the pits and retired his car. Now down to 10 cars apiece in each category. A bit of a shame. Nyla is in a battle with Dave Alex. Wow, that's an unusual line by one of the LMPs.
Yep. I think groundskeeper will be having words with him later on.
Indeed. Yeah, Andrex could be in there a while, unfortunately. Empower, that puts him back up into third then. A 51.7, gained 3 seconds on both Scott and Colonel McCoy ahead of him. Or 2.5 at least. So he is absolutely charging on. He's got 16 seconds to get to Colonel McCoy, and then a further 5 seconds to get to Scott. Andrex is back out, so that was not a long stop at all. If there was a big old chunk of damage on the back, he's taken up to 54 litres now. So I think Andrex would have certainly been playing the fuel risk pretty close.
How much fuel has Scott got now?
Scott has got 39.
Interesting. And there's 30 minutes left remaining in the race. 39 litres. I'm not 100% convinced they'll be able to make it. We need to figure out how much fuel he's using per lap, roughly. So if we can kind of somewhat keep an eye on him and use a reference point. Obviously, he's just coming up to the start-finish line, so that's probably the best place. But
he'll spite us and pit at the end of the lap. Nope, no sign of it. So let's see what he does. Over the line.
So I'm going to say 38.2, roughly.
Yeah, I'll go with that. That was a 53.5 last time around, so we'll check back in with Scott before the end of the lap. Ryder still on the back of Dave Alex, battle for 6th position in the GT4s. See if they're able to swap back around. Andrex finds himself 6 seconds behind D'Couza now. Hopefully with a slightly more behaving Aston. AD-Ace is it's a strange view. AD-Ace has had a bit of a problem, I'd say.
I would agree with you there, considering he's stuck in the gravel. He seems to be underway again. Whoop, see daisy.
That was the weirdest camera angle I've ever seen. But Bo is right with him.
He's not far off. Yeah, 6.5 seconds. And
but Bo's only got 10 litres though.
Yeah, so Bo will definitely need to pit again. But what's the gap? 18 seconds between Bo and Ready Bird. Bo could recover back up into 2nd place with his pace and the amount of time that's remaining. There is Scott.
Keep it. AD-Ace is in.
Is he?
He's come in. So he probably.
Interesting.
That's going to really shake up the lead battle. I'm keeping an eye on Scott as well for his fuel. What did we say? 38.2.
It was, yes. So it's coming up to 2 litres. He's not going to have enough. He needs to pit. He will need to pit for the end of the race, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah. Considering they're doing, 1 minute 50 lap times, he's using over 2 litres per lap. He's got 28 minutes remaining. Yeah, it's really close, but I think he is.
He won't make it. Yeah, you're right. He won't make that. Oh, AD-Ace now down to 4th. Oh, what a shame.
He's taken on a lot of fuel with that as well.
Yeah, unless you're going to burn a hell of a lot of it. That's a little bit excessive there, eh? But that's brought Bo right back into it.
Yes, it has, and I'm seeing in the chat as well. Logan has disconnected. He's appeared in the chat, but he had a a slight lag moment, missed his braking point, and went into the rear end of Andrex. That's what caused the damage for him. And ADA seems to... There he goes. I was going to say, he seemed to be stuck in the pit lane, but it seems like ADA is repairing some damage somewhere along the line. That's going to cost him the lead.
A lot of time. That's over a minute behind the leader now.
Oh, that's very close to that pit exit line. You don't want to be running over that. Obviously, Bo does need to pit, but yeah, you're looking... What are they doing? 35s. Yeah, you're looking about 1 minute 20 between 8 the Ace and...
Oh, that is going to be close between 8 the Ace, and it was, what, 6-ish seconds after Aid had gotten himself back out of the gravel trap between himself and Bo. So,
yeah.
Bo, I think it's fair to say, will not be in the pits as long as Aid was, but that could potentially be a real scrap for the lead.
It can potentially. It all depends on Bo's pit stop, what he actually does there in terms of fuel. Obviously, if he gets everything right and only puts in the amount of fuel that he actually needs for the end of the race and doesn't take tyres, he should be good and he'll be ahead of 8 the Ace. It'll be where he comes out in relation to Ruddy Bird and Smolder. He'll probably be behind the pair of them, but how close he'll be to the back of Smolder, we do not quite know yet. So we have to keep an eye on for Bo when he does pit.
1 minute 12 behind the leader now at ADA. So that's how much time he lost. So nearly a minute 20 he lost overall. From being in the lead by a few seconds to then being that far behind. Oh, ooh, that's a strange... That was a weird line that Aid had there.
Yeah, had a slight bit of lag there.
Yeah, that looked really strange. Aaron's in. I think not for the first time either. And J Peaches is coming again. It's Bo, 36-0 on the board last time. 34-7, fastest lap of the race. Bo is, well, he's got to come in next time. He's only got 4.5 left. Oh dear, that's...
I think that's Dave Alex.
No,
it's Milo.
They do have the same colour car.
Yes, they do,
yeah. Milo's are slightly more reshapen. That's someone getting stuck behind Dave Alex. Dave Alex is fairly close to that battle with Nyla as well, he's been involved with the KTM.
Yep.
Aaron, as we saw, is in the pit already, and out he comes. Minesco's going to come through. There is Minesco. He's going to come up into 7th place, I think. Oh no, he's a lap down from Aaron, so no, he won't. He just unlapped himself from.
Interesting. There's pictures that I'm seeing in the pit lane. Yeah, Bo, blistering lap time. That pace. I think it's either going to be this lap or it's the next lap that he's going to be in. He might be able to forget. Yeah, I'm hoping he doesn't forget either. That'll be very unfortunate as he gets caught up on the curb. The frustrating thing about these LMP3 cars is they're so low to the ground that it is really awkward when you do end up straddling a curb like that, because it just scrapes along the floor on the underside and it just hops the car all over the place, and yeah, you feel like you have no grip. It looks like Bo is actually coming into this pit lane this time round, so you called it right, KK.
JP just come out right in between Scott and Colonel McCoy, as they're the GT4 leaders. All going to be, where does Bo reappear? Ruddy Bird will not want to come into the pits again for the remainder of the race, so Bo needs his pit crew to be godlike.
Yep, he hopes that he's got the pit strategy sorted to be taking on exactly the right amount of fuel that he wants and not any more to hold it any longer.
Any more than that.
Yes, he will. Seems like
that'll do it.
Into fuel.
That's a good stop.
That is a good stop.
Ruddy Bird has gone into the lead as predicted. Smolder, yes, Smolder
taking a position.
Where is AD Ace? AD Ace has only just come out of turn 7, so that's how badly it's gone for AD Ace.
But Bo is just behind Smolder. Look, half a second between the two.
There is Smolder. So Bo is now eyes on the prize for the top spot. 23 minutes. He's done that 34 previously, so he could potentially pull that in, but that's Bo has just got to drive his car to death. Oh, diving on the inside. He's going to try and box Smolder on the Aston. Oh, no! He tried to box the Aston, use the accident to... try that again. Oh, and a bit more impact for Bo. Oh, no! He's letting Smolder through. Smolder has gone through. So Bo will now go back on it, but that's going to cost him a big old handful of time. Oh, what a shame for Bo. And for Smolder, in fairness.
Yeah, big shame for the both of them. I think Bo was a little bit tentative. The gap was kind of there, and he was kind of half looking at it, but he probably should have backed out of that one and just let Smolder deal with the traffic, get both of them past, and then have a look at really trying to work his way through. It's the whole thinking of the bigger picture, planning ahead, and thinking further down the line, risk versus reward. And I think Bo was just a little bit too eager there and made the mistake and ended up making contact with Smolder. Very unfortunate for both of them.
Oh, this battle is coming on again. M-Power is now 11 seconds behind Scott and gained nearly 3 seconds on the GT4 leader last time around.
What's Scott's fuel load though? 28. He is fuel saving massively. You can hear him riding on the clutch. On the
clutch, yeah.
Yeah. He's just...
Wow.
Oh, this is going to be so... Yeah, he's definitely... Either he's got to do some massive fuels. It's not worth it.
Look at that! Look at that! He's just coasting so badly for so long. It's not worth it. He's losing.
No, he's losing too much time.
Long.
Yeah,
he's going to have to come in.
It's better to just decide now to just do the splash and dash and just press on, because he's going to end up losing positions to Colonel McCoy, possibly his teammate Andrex as well. Nilo could be in and around there. Yeah, it's...
He's not coming in though.
No, he's not. He's still pressing on. He's persevering with it for now, but he needs to make this decision sooner or later to give him more time after the pit stop to actually gain that time back. I don't think he can... I don't think he can do it. I don't think he can go to the end.
I don't think he can either. I can't see how. I really can't, unless... Oh, wow! M-Power's through the Mustang to the apex. He made it stick, to be fair. Yeah, another sub-52 lap time from M-Power. He is absolutely charging on. He's got nothing to worry about except for the walls. It's the only thing M-Power's got to worry about now. And also keeping an eye on Andrex. 3.5 seconds behind Colonel McCoy. Andrex could well get back on the podium, which was such a shame considering he was leading the class. But he may well still count himself, you know, happy with that. He won't be happy that he had an LMP introduced to his tail, but unfortunately lag moments affect the best of them, so it wasn't really anybody's fault. It's just a bit unlucky. Let's have a look at the penalty count as well while we're at it. So still 1 for Ruddy Bird, 2 for Inferno, 1 for Brazanchik, 1 for Aaron, 2 for Minesco, 1 for Empower, 1 for Colonel McCoy, 3 for Dave Alex, 3 for Nyla, and 1 for Milo. As Minesco is in the pits again. Oh, that'll be why this time.
There's no rear wing. That's pretty important in these LMP3 cars.
Certainly at a track that's got some decent speed corners in it. So, yeah, that's brought your day to an end. Bo is a second off the back of Smolder.
Yep, banging in the lap times. Was a good 8 tenths. Ooh, that's a bit of GT4 traffic there with, I believe that was Andrex and Nilo. But yeah, Bo now within half a second of Smolder in front of him. This has played very nicely into his hands. It's kind of the ebb and flow of multi-class racing. Sometimes the traffic works massively in your favour, sometimes it goes massively against you. So just... Oh no, that's the KTM getting sideways in the background. Hopefully just about managed to keep it out the wall, I think. No, it wasn't Nyla, it was the Marauder.
Oh dear.
He's underway again. It doesn't look like there was any damage to the front of his car, but yeah, very unfortunate for him.
It's horrible when you have one of those spins, because it just feels so slow and clumsy. And there's nothing you can do about it until the car comes to a halt.
Bo getting a little bit sideways on the exit there, but managing to hold on to that.
He wants Smolder. Hopefully he'll be able to not get that slight tanglement that he had with Smolder last time around. Yeah, 36.9, so he gained 2.1 on Ruddy Bird last time around, so sub 10 seconds is gap to leader with 18 minutes to go.
It does, carrying so much more speed coming into the inner loop, the bus stop section. This is where they had the contact last time, but both of them threw it cleanly. It certainly seems like there wasn't really too much damage picked up for either driver as far as I can tell, just looking at them at a glance and at their lap times. But they could have some small amount of damage. But yeah, Bo pressing on at the moment, just eyeing up his competition in front of him, trying to figure out where his weak spots are, and I imagine in the next couple of laps he'll probably try to mount an attack, especially if traffic starts to come into play as well and holds up Smolder and breaks his momentum a little bit.
Or piling the pressure on, and Smolder may fancy the fancy a chance of defending, even though there's still quite a few minutes left. There is M-Power, that distinctive blue Mustang. Interesting, Smolder stuck to the inside line that time.
I think M-Power could be a factor into turn 1.
Oh, here we go again. This Bo trying to bot Smolder behind a GT4 again. It didn't go well for him last time. Oh, Smolder just managed to jump out from behind M-Power. The Mustang driver, knowing that both the LMPs are there, he could be, you plan for one of them coming past, but it could be easy to forget for the second one being there. But he saw there were two there, and that battle then rages on. Speaking of M-Power, he's gained another 1.4 on Scott. 8.6 is that gap now with 16 minutes left. That's going to be close. What's Scott's fuel amount? 21. As long as he keeps the litre amount more than the amount of minutes left, which is still going to be an insane amount of fuel saving going on, it's doable.
Yep.
Oh, Bo already had Smolder.
Yep, they've managed to swap positions. He's managed to get through. Bo now up into second place. He's 11.2 seconds behind the leader, Ruddy Bird. He may be able to actually get the win. Yeah, if he can crack the pace back up to the 35s, the 34s, like he had been doing earlier on in the race, he could close in on Ruddy Bird. It all depends on the traffic and the clear air and just how focused he's going to be. Oh, Dave Alex has had some trouble as he's got damage to the front and also the rear of his car.
Pretty, everything except the roof, by the look of that.
And the side, yeah.
Yeah, side, back, front, and probably the other side, but we can't actually see. So 37.3 for Ruddy Bird last time, 39.0, but we saw that Bo was getting past Smolder with a 41. So this lap is going to be the telling one. Aid getting 36.8 last time around, but he is 32 seconds behind where Smolder is. So unless someone falls off the road, it's unfortunate, but it would seem that Aid is going to be out of the podium running. Scott is picking up the pace a little bit again. He's getting to the 52s again. He's got to be very careful, but he's still on par to do it.
Yeah. He's still lifting and coasting, so he's got some insane pace being able to do that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the guys in the chat, they're saying that Scott should be able to go to the end with the fuel that he's got. Obviously, M-Power does have the penalty as well, so that could be factored. Yeah, but obviously Scott, all he needs to do is to stay within a second of M-Power, and he's got the win. That's if he does end up losing the position to M-Power on track. Yeah.
There's still so many things still to play out. This is absolutely fantastic. As we tend to find with endurance racing, we you have the phase in the middle that is just people running their pace, hitting their marks, just running the clock down, and then you have the frantic start as you always have in a motor race, and then it's always at the end where there's several stories left to unfold. There's always the amazing battles left to tell the story of. And look at that, 35.5, nearly 3 full seconds off of Ruddy Bird last time around. At that pace, Bo will certainly be right there. Brzancic is getting close to Inferno. That's a battle for 5th position. There's one of the green Astons right ahead of Inferno there. But yeah, so we're really keeping an eye on Ruddy Bird and Bo, and Scott and M-Power, both class leads. And Scott again, Scott with a 52.7, M-Power with a 51.8. So he's doing everything he can to close in 13 minutes rather left to go. 7 laps, a rough guess. Well, that's probably 8 or 9 laps of leader's pace. Oh, it's going to be close.
Bo's lost some time on this lap. The gap's gone from 8-9 seconds back up to 10 seconds. Sounds like he's passed one of the KTM crossbows. You can see that Smolder's not too far behind, still hanging in and around 2 seconds. So Smolder is there lurking in the background just in case there is an opportunity. We see Brzanczyk running a little bit wide, and then Inferno running a little bit wide. Yeah, Brzanczyk was on the grass going into the corner, and then Inferno was on the tarmac on the corner exit. I believe that's Ruddy Bird that's behind him, is it not? It is!
Let's shove the M3 off the road. That's a little bit unceremonious. Yep, exactly as you called. Bo lost 9/10 of a second that time around.
Oh, it's going to lose more time as well to that Aston Martin. The Aston Martin just needs to stay on the racing line. As I said, just be as predictable as you possibly can be, and let the other cars go around you. So we see Scott. He seemed to pick up the pace. He doesn't seem to be lifting and coasting quite so much. M-Power 5.5 seconds behind though. What is Scott's lap time this time round? As he comes across the line of 53.6.
And M-Power is clocked up 51.6, so 2 seconds gone. M-Power will nail him at that pace, but he is not going to have a lot of time to actually make the overtake happen when he gets there. Bo is running out of laps as well to close in what is now 7 seconds on Ruddy Bird, so it's doable, but he's really got to get on with it. Well, he has been getting on with it for lap on lap, to be fair. But I mean, you got to think that Bo he had that huge incident with Jeremy, which dropped him almost last in the entire race. I think did drop him to last in the entire race, and is now pressuring for the win.
Yeah, that's a clear example of why you do not give up in endurance racing, because you never know what's going to happen to your other competitors around you. They could have blistering pace, but as we saw, the Ace had an incident earlier on that dropped him off the lead, and he's currently in 4th place at the moment, but he's not really in any contention to fight for the podium. And obviously Bo's got his head down, worked out a decent strategy to work his way back up through the field, and is now in with a chance of getting the win. I think Scott is still doing some lifting and coasting. Yeah, trying to preserve that fuel.
3.5 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, between him and M-Power, it's. I think. Well, he's committed to it now. He can't really change it now. He is still the right side of the numbers, but he's going to have the devil's own job keeping M-Power behind him when he gets there, and he will at that rate. Oh, what's happened to Bo? Bo's in trouble.
Oh no, he's had a spin.
I suddenly saw Smolder was right there. Oh, and he's hit the wall again. Oh, Bo. Oh. That is tragic. But then you take your eye off the ball for just that split second. You said to yourself, you catch a curve wrong in these LMP3s, and it will just spit you out. And he's struggling to accelerate now. So, yeah, that's a very unhappy car. Oh, what a tragedy for Bo. He can't even keep it straight by the look of that.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of commentator's curse possibly there, but yeah, very unfortunate for Bo. That's robbed us of a battle for the win in LMP3. However, the battle for the class win in GT4 is still on. I wonder if M-Power is actually using possibly a stick shift, or is possibly using the clutch and heel and tone, because he's going from 4th gear down into 2nd.
Yeah.
He's not going down sequentially, he's skipping gears on the downshifts, which is quite interesting, because I did hear him a number of times in the first turn chuck it into the corner, and then you just hear all the revs drop, and all of a sudden pick back up, and I thought he may have been actually locking the differential, because that tends to that's what tends to happen if you do lock the wheels heavily under braking and lock the diff, the revs do go with it. But yeah, it sounds like, or looks like, he may actually be using a H-pattern stick shift.
Nice. And using it very, very well, I would say, judging by that.
Yeah.
Scott, though, still looking to play the fuel, play the numbers. He's running that so unbearably close, but that is the gap now. And finally, a 51.2 for mPower last time around. Absolutely insane pace from the Mustang. But this is inevitable, surely. Because he can't pick up the pace. Scott can't pick up the pace any further because he just hasn't the spare fuel, I'd have thought.
No, but if Scott has got a wise head on his shoulders, he'll probably let, well, for one, let that Janetta go through. Two, probably just let mPower go through. Just run the risk and think more about the championship points. He got the win last time round. If he can run it to the end without needing to stop, he'll probably pick up second place, which is a decent haul of points. He'll maintain the championship lead. Here goes mPower around the outside. I think Scott's going to try and make him work a little bit for it, though. This is going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, he's not wanting to just let him have it. Oh, but there we go. Look at that. That's got to be job done. No?
Nope.
No. Scott saying, try again, sir. I've still got the inside line.
I think it's...
Oh,
that's a
bit
bit
of
of rubbing.
banging going on.
Yeah, Rabbin's racing. I think if Scott is trying to fuel save whilst battling, that's going to give a bit of an advantage to mPower. mPower's going to have the inside line for this corner, though. And all the previous corners, he's had the outside line. So that could now be mPower slotting himself up into the lead just about. As both of them were looking a little bit wiggly through the corner. And now Scott is right there on the back. It's probably going to be a little bit frustrating, but one thing that he does need to do is think about the fuel. Yes, you got your opponent right there in front of you, but do you have enough fuel to last that last 5.5 minutes with just those 9 litres that he has remaining?
That's the golden question, isn't it? And it's so tempting to push on.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore the fuel numbers. That is absolutely fair play for Scott for trying it, and he was so close to making it work. But mPower's blistering pace has just undone that basically for Scott, and he's already fallen to where the slipstream is going to be a little bit less effective, about half a second back. Andrex 22 seconds behind. Bear in mind he was 2 seconds or so ahead of Scott before the incident that Andrex had, so that's undone itself pretty badly. But Andrex at some point has overtaken Conor McCoy in the distant past, so Andrex will see the podium if nothing else for the GT4s. No, look at that. mPower's just gone. Unless mPower throws that into the wall, which he hasn't done all race long, then it's looking pretty certain that that's going to go to the Mustang.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think Scott just needs to focus on actually getting to the end with the fuel that he's got. One thing that we should probably turn our attention to is Smolder in second place. He is less than 5 seconds behind Ruddy Bird. It'll be interesting to see what his lap time is when it comes to the end of the lap and see just how much he's gained on this lap. It seems like a considerable amount, and Smolder was quicker on the previous lap as well.
He was quicker by about 1.3 to close in 4 seconds with only 4 minutes to go. He's going to need to pick up more than that, but we will see what happens. See what the lap times were this time. Where's Ruddy Bird? There he is. Scything his way through the that's the GT4
Scott.
lead.
Yep.
So for Ruddy Bird, that is a 138.7. And for Smolder, 37.8. So picks up 9 tenths there, but it's not going to be enough.
Nope. But Ruddy Bird is in amongst some traffic as well. This could be slowing him down more than he would like. mPower just about manages to keep it out of the wall. Ruddy Bird is going to be hoping that this LMP3 lifts off and moves out of his way to get him through, which he does exactly that. So Ruddy Bird has been set free and he's got quite a bit of space between him and the next car. However, Smolder has got the gap now down to less than 2.5 seconds. Obviously he's got to navigate the same traffic, but it didn't really look like he was going to be held up too much there by mPower. It'll just be about this Janetta, sorry, this this Ligier LMP3 car up ahead. But yeah, Ruddy Bird taking out another decent chunk of time on the race leader on the previous lap.
And looks like that aforementioned... Oh, I wonder if he was getting out of the way, but a little bit too early to let Smolder through. This is going to be the start of the penultimate lap when Ruddy Bird crosses the line again. Just checking in with a 3.6 is now the gap between Scott and Empower. Scott's
5.1
really
meters.
get close. Yeah, but I mean, he can continue to fuel save now. He's just under 20 seconds ahead of Andrak, so he'll be fine with that. And so lap 52 commences. 39.9 for Ruddy Bird, 38.4, 1.5 gone. 2 laps remain here at Watkins Glen, and Smolder, it's possible, but he would rather needs Ruddy Bird to be held up again to close that gap down, I reckon.
Yep, although Ruddy Bird is coming up on traffic now, but he's catching it at the right time for himself. He has gone past him. Sounds like a KTM. There it is in the background. So yeah, Ruddy Bird won't be held up here. Smolder might be though, especially if he's coming up to both cars in the carousel. Swing around the outside, and yeah, he's had to back out and lift off. Ooh, that KTM moving over out of the way, but that, yeah, he's gone and lost a second on this lap so far. Bo's still hanging around in and around third place. He hasn't completely dropped off.
True, but yeah, Bo will just be there picking up what he can, unfortunately. A great shame considering what the form he was showing that led him to there, but that is the nature of the beast. We have less than a minute to go. As Ruddy Bird then from the lead, 3 seconds, near enough between yourself and Smolder. There he is, Smolder, the white LMP in the background. Well, that's not a bad way to have you... How did Ruddy Bird do last time out at Kota? Do you remember? I don't have the last result to hand.
He finished in 9th place, so he didn't pick up any points. But he did finish the race. I imagine he'll be very, very happy. He'll be absolutely ecstatic with this result, providing he can keep it on the track between the white lines on this final lap. And a couple of the guys in the chat are just asking for a quick penalty update, so if we can have a look at those just to make sure that everything is all good and groovy between all our drivers. Looks like they are for the most part.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Ruddy Bird's got a 1 second penalty. Interesting.
He does, but 3 seconds to the good for him at the moment. And Empower now leads by nearly 10 seconds over Scott. But Scott's got 2.5 litres.
He can do it. He should be able to just push pretty much normally with that amount of fuel, I think.
But the checkered flag is now out and waiting for Ruddy Bird to find his way through the remaining half the lap. Down to turn 8. There is Smolder in the background, and unless Ruddy Bird throws it into the wall, the top spot of the podium is going to go to Series Debutant Ruddy Bird. Well, his debutant was last week. You know what I mean. Smolder's still gained about half a second on him in the last few turns, but it is not going to be enough. Here comes Ruddy Bird then. Your winner here at Watkins Glen. Don't trip over the M3 on your way past. Which of course he doesn't. It is Ruddy Bird. Smolder is going to take second. Bo, I thought, was going to throw that into the wall for a moment, but Bo takes third. ADA's a very distant fourth in the NMPs. Oh, bit of a brush with the wall.
Yeah.
Where's our GT4 leaders? Right behind Aid, actually. No, Aid has got a few friends in front of him, but oh, what might have been for Aid the Ace. It chases down whoever that is, and someone's just killed their engine, and oh, very nice. Rolled over for that one, but the winner of the GT4s is Empower. After all of that, Scott with less than a litre in the tank.
Really? I was going to say I can't quite see because I got the race complete, but he's going to be very, very happy with that, as you can see with the flash of the lights. Very nice.
0.6 litres. That's all he had in the tank. 0.6.
Yeah, very nice result for him. Andrex will be coming across the line. His Scott's teammate coming in third. I'll be pretty happy with that. And then Colonel McCoy is about 5 seconds behind. Here he comes across the line now in his Aston Martin. And then D'Couza, I believe, has already come across the line.
He was just ahead of the leader. So
yes.
he's pretty much the last car on the lead lap. Sorry, the last car running. In fact, he is the last car running, I think.
There's a couple of cars in front of him who are coming across the line. That white Ginetta behind is Smolder, I believe. So, yeah.
Zone 6 done. Inferno's done. Galactic Gentleman's done. Aaron's done. Minesco's stopped. Peaches? No, Peaches started. I think most, if not all, have crossed the line. So here comes D'Couza. And D'Couza wasn't he the last car to cross the line?
Indeed. So here are your final results then in the LMP3 class. Ruddy Bird takes the win. Smolder picking up second. GTR Bow picking up third. Aid the Ace fourth. Bazanchek fifth. Inferno in 6th place, Intergalactic Gentleman in 7th. Aaron was in 8th, 9th place went to Minesco, and then 10th was Peaches, and Flaming Parrot was the last LMP3 car in 11th place. And then just quickly to run through the GT4s, M-Power took the win there ahead of Scott in 2nd. His teammate Andrex in 3rd, and then fortunately I didn't get to see the rest of the grid. Right. But yeah, very good, interesting and entertaining race. Very glad that we did actually manage to get the coverage of the race in the end without any real technical issue. I know a couple of the drivers had some unfortunate issues. Hopefully we can stay clear of those next week. King Kodiak, thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box for this race and kind of helping to recover the stream after some troublesome 20 minutes at the beginning or so.
It was my total pleasure, sir.
Yes, as always. Of course, if you are wanting to come back in the commentary box at any point through this season, let me know. And I'll more than happily open the door and let you in.
Certainly shall, certainly shall.
Yes, excellent. Well, I think that's going to conclude our coverage here with round 2 at Watkins Glen. Thank you very much for those of you who stuck through the technical issues in the chat and stayed through the entirety of the stream. Obviously, there was a little bit of frustration with the technical issues. I do apologise for those, but obviously very relieved and very happy that we could cover the entirety of its race in full. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Subscribe to the Apex Online Racing channel to make sure you don't miss out on any future videos here and any future live streams. I've been Yorkie, joined by King Kodiak. Was there anything you wanted to say just to round off?
Not at all. You already said it, rather. So yes, thank you very much for those that have been with us throughout. Thank you to AOR sponsors, of course. Without them, AOR would not continue to grow. Thank you very much to our drivers, particularly those that stuck through the difficult times. It really has been a display of what can happen if you stick with it. And commiserations to those that didn't see the flag, but wow, what a race it was.
Yes, indeed. So thanks once again. Hopefully we shall catch you next week where we shall be racing at Laguna Seca on the 7th of February. Once again at 8 PM UK time is when we'll be kicking off the stream with qualifying beginning at 1/4 the hour. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully we shall catch you soon. I've been Yorkie. Ciao and good night.